welcome back YouTube. Today we're going to be working on the Dodge, getting the Dodge project somewhat started again. Engine's been built, transmission's been built. Really haven't gone over that, but like I said, after the motorcycle, we're going to get to work on the Dodge. I need to get this truck done. Started on the project back in 2017, actually 2018 when I was in the military, and it was my daily driver for a while. Body's been swapped because the other one's full of rust. Frame's been painted. Engine's been gone through. It's a P-pumped 24 valve Cummins. Got a lot of parts to it. Got a lot of other stuff that needs to be done. A lot of body work. Mount the doors. I'm gonna do an aluminum dash. Got some parts over there, electrical stuff that we need to get wired in. And I'm tired of it sitting here and not being touched, so I need to get started. And then as far as the old Blazer goes, this is a buddy of mine's dad. Need to get working on it. Actually, she's done, but I got to pull the transmission out of it, transfer case, and then we're gonna move it out of the way, put all the parts in a bag, label the bags, probably pull this off to the side over here where we're gonna end up putting the extended driveway. But yeah. So transmission's out of it, got to pick the exhaust up, put all the other stuff in bolts, and gonna set you guys up on a little bit of a time lapse while we get that started, and then move some cars around, pull this one back, and then pull the Dodge out. Sorry about that. Now that we got the Blazer moved out of the way, waiting for my buddy's dad to come pick up these transmission parts and go ahead and get them out, and then whenever the transmission's rebuilt, go ahead and put it back in. Now we're gonna try to see what we can do on the truck. Thinking probably go ahead and try to mount the doors. Already got the hinges and the hardware that it came with. I don't actually remember the exact orientation of these, so we're going to have to figure that out real quick, and I don't know if this is the correct hardware. Oh, well, it is. Good deal. So that makes things a little bit easier. Go ahead and mount the doors, mount the hinges, all that stuff, and we got some fuse boxes. Probably not going to get to any of this today. This is just for later stuff whenever we put in the aluminum dash, start putting in all the gauges, stuff like that, just all the different gauges and monitoring systems, speedometer, all that other stuff is going to go on the aluminum dash. Debating on switching out the stock steering shaft for just probably just a race style steering shaft, and then have it go through and mount to the steering, well, not the steering column, go ahead and replace it and mount it to the steering shaft that I already have. So yeah, let's try to get some of this stuff mounted up and see how it goes. Just little by little progress. It's gonna be a series. Just I need to get to work on this truck, and it's been way too long of me just letting it ride out and not doing anything to it. I mean, I started the project 5 years ago, and running and driving at the time, decided to go a completely different route and go straight drag truck, and lost interest after a while, and it basically turned when I started doing some body work, as you could tell. Weighed on a bunch of filler and really no reason. I'm going to feather it all out to where it's minuscule anyways, but those at the time seemed like a good idea. But all right, let's try to get started on this door hinges. guys, I'm back. So a little bit of trial and error. I could have sworn the spring goes on the bottom, but it doesn't work. They're two different sizes. One's a little bit longer than the other. So the spring definitely goes up top because it matches up with the old bolt lines. So yeah, I mean, luckily this kit came with everything. Came with the right bolts I need. You got a stud that goes on the back, and there's a fat washer, and then a nut that goes on the back side. Kind of hard to get to. See if y'all could probably see this. I mean, it's just a small little hole on top and bottom to finger fuck your way in there and get it all lined up, ready to go. If you're gonna do this, I recommend just keeping the bracket loose a little bit to where you can get your door where you like it, and then tighten her up all the way. So get started on the other one. Oh, by the way, I brought out the copper anti-seize. Probably not recommended for this, but I really don't care. It's definitely going to keep the bolt holes from rusting out. I personally like to use anti-seize on anything I think that may come out at a later date, or for the simple fact of anything that does not require Loctite, to me, requires anti-seize, because it can be your best friend when it comes to brake components, exhaust components, stuff like that. Whenever you're not having to break out 14 feet of cheater bar just to get a bolt out or snap it or whatever the case may be, then it just becomes an absolute nightmare. You're not happy, no one's happy at that point. But let's go ahead and install this last little bracket, at least for this side, and then we'll try to hang the door maybe today, hopefully today. But honestly, it's really hot out here and I'm kind of getting a little thirsty and don't feel like staying out here all day. So like I said, it's going to be a bunch of different series conglomerated together to create one big series. Hopefully document the process along the way, getting this truck back on the road, getting it triple turboed, all that stuff, which I don't know if I've gone over the truck much. So it's a 02 24 valve Cummins with an automatic transmission. It's my first diesel truck I ever bought. Bought it back in 2016 with my own money when I was 18 years old. And it's been a project ever since. I mean, I bought it running and driving. Didn't have any really issues out of it. Some typical transmission issues, all that kind of stuff. Well, then I got the bright idea. I heard through the grapevine that you can P-pump one of these trucks. You can basically take a 12 valve Cummins, snag some parts off of it, and modify a few parts for your 12 valve Cummins, and lo and behold, you got a 24 valve that's P-pumped. So that's what I did. You know, when I was stationed in Virginia, found a guy that had some old school bus engines for sale in South Maryland. Drove up there, had a couple $100s in each pocket. I was fully prepared, ready to spend like $1,200 on a timing case, a camshaft with gear, a P7100 injection pump, and a timing cover, and I believe an oil pan or something like that. Well, I get there, get to talking to the guy, shows me what engine it pulled off of. Old, you know, Maryland county school, whatever, school bus, and it looked to be in pretty good shape. So no rust on it, no cracks, no nothing like that. So I asked how much he wanted for it, and he said, I believe it was $240 for everything. Camshaft, which was an industrial 12 valve cam, which is has a taller load profile on the cam. P7100 injection pump, timing case, timing cover, all that stuff. He like $240. So I couldn't even haggle him down any. That was super good deal. And I put the pump on here with a lot of other stuff. I mean, it's got redone cylinder head, polished ported head, polished valves, reseated valves, ARP head studs, copper head gasket, 12 valve rods, 24 valve pistons, all Molle bearings and seals, ARP main studs, ARP rod bolts, ARP torque converter bolts, stock valve train for the most part. A lot of the parts I've got have either been Molle, Power Driven Diesel out of Utah, which if you guys have never heard or gone to Power Driven Diesel, those guys are absolutely awesome. Transmission parts from Cope Racing Transmissions in Lowell, Indiana. Mr. John Cope is a fantastic man. If you call, he's more than likely going to be the man you're going to talk to, and he's the owner of the company. He is a fantastic guy. He's one of those guys that will find a problem or figure out a problem, whatever, and then he will not stop till he has fixed that problem the best way possible. And what I like about it, he uses Power Glide solenoids. So if you, whatever reason you're on a drag strip and you lose a solenoid for your trans brake or whatever, you just go right down the road to your local auto parts store and they've got one on the shelf. There's no need to wait, 4, 5, 10 days for shipping when, Cope's pretty much thought it through and it's right there off your, the shop floor. But yeah, that's most of the transmission parts I got were from them. It's got a diesel performance converters, high stall, triple disc billet converter, transmission sitting over there on the side. Hadn't even messed with it too much. Had it apart a few times, just basically using it as a core transmission, but whatever. But yeah, the goal for this thing is to have triple turbos on a log setup, have one on the atmosphere, or well, have one on the manifold and 2 atmosphere, and then there's going to be right here in the passenger side compartment is going to be, I'm going to drill through here since there's no air conditioning components, drill through there, have 2 4-inch holes. One of them is going to be for a water to air intercooler, and then there's going to be an air to air intercooler in the front, which I'm going to have to look and see what would be a better idea as far as space and time. I'm definitely going to do a water to air, and then more than likely somewhere back here where the back seat would go is going to be the water tank with its own. Camera died. But so yeah, anyways, going back to the overview of the truck. My first ever diesel. I don't know why, I just kind of got a wild hair and just decided to one day P-pump it, and it's been a wild ride ever since. Nothing is perfect. It's polyurethane mounts, some stuff's kind of mix and matched. I kind of cut some corners just to get it running, but eventually I want to tear this engine back down. Nothing's wrong with it. It ran last time I had it, and it was set to 32 degrees of timing, or 34, I can't remember. Some pretty gnarly timing on it. Raw, ended up doing a raw aluminum ejection pump, kind of like that. Might actually end up painting it, but decided to go with the International Red. But everything's gonna get gone through. Polyurethane motor mounts, frames been painted, custom brake lines, axles been gone through. Borgeson steering shaft, which probably needs a little bit of work because she's kind of rusty. But overall, this is gonna be a fun truck. I'm gonna do flush mount shock towers. That way you don't have that 6-inch tower sticking up, so it'll make some more room for turbos. But yeah, that's really about it. It's just gonna be a project truck. Probably gonna run some shaved fenders. The only thing that's gonna be up front is gonna be a radiator. Not gonna have any kind of intercooling or anything like that up front. Transcooling is gonna be in the back. Intercooling is gonna be in the passenger seat, and that's pretty much gonna be about it. It is gonna be a dedicated drag truck, like I said, triple turbos on a log setup. There's some companies out there that are doing it. I don't know if it's patent pending or anything like that. I highly doubt it, but I'm not really too sure. But yeah, so that's pretty much the idea of the truck. I just been honestly dragging my ass on working on it because I know it's gonna be a miserable time getting everything set up, but I've already got some parts for later. Got distribution block that's going to end up probably going somewhere here on the dash, somewhere towards the middle on the dash. This is a relay box, also probably can go mounted somewhere, but this, with it being a mechanically injected diesel, the only 2 things that it necessarily needs to run, there's going to be a full manual valve body, so necessarily the 2 things it needs to run is power to the AirDog fuel pump, which this is a 1st-gen AirDog fuel pump, so we'll see if I end up upgrading it at a later date once I get some extra cash. But so far this pump has done awesome. I haven't had any issues out of it. It's an AirDog 150 made for a 12 valve, I made it work on a 24 valve setup. There's really nothing to it. It's like 3 wires and that's it, and it just quick connects to the injection pump. It's a fantastic pump. I love AirDog. Nothing against Fast, I just haven't owned a Fast. Racing bucket style seats. We're gonna go Lexan glass all the way around. There is going to be a roll cage at some point, and obviously not right now till we get a lot more progress done, but slowly but surely, like I said, this is going to be a painstakingly slow process. But overall, hoping within the next year or so have this truck on a drag strip. Some fat drag tires on the back. It may not be painted at that point, but at least it'll be running and driving. I'm still debating on whether I want to get it looking good first, nice and painted, before I decide to start doing all the mechanical stuff, or just say forget it, go ahead and do all the mechanical stuff and leave it ugly like an old farm truck, and then take it to a drag strip and see how she does. Whenever I had it running and driving, dang it, whenever I did have it running and driving, it was fantastic. It had a Muldoon's full manual valve body in it. I liked that thing, but I think just the shifter setup I had was caused it to bind in between first and second. So you'd rev it up in first. Also it revs to about 4,000 RPMs, 4,200, somewhere around there with the governor springs I have in it. Engine's fully built, guys. Other than a solid, you know, a stock block, it's gorilla girdled. Everything you could think of, just basically stock rotating assembly for the most part, just a bunch of bolts and interior work done, or engine work done. But I just want to see how much power it'll hold. If it does, you know, 600 horses on a dyno, great. If it does 1,500 horses on a dyno, great. But I don't think anywhere near 800 to 1,000 that engine's going to hold up the way it should. I think we're going to start finding some weak spots, maybe, especially in a 24 valve block. I'm definitely going to, I don't care if I blow this motor or not, I'm definitely going to keep with the 24 valve block series. I think it's kind of an underrated block as long as it's not a 53 series. They're awesome. I mean, they really are. And I think it's cool because I really don't know anything about their drag racing P-pump 24 valves. It's either common rails or 12 valves. So I'd like to kind of bring the little bit of a modern age to the old dinosaur injection style setup. I mean, there's not going to be hardly anything to it, just pretty much what you see with some dyno mat, some, you know, probably Amazon racing seats, and go from there. So door is mounted. We're not going to need any of this electrical stuff, so I'm going to pull it out after a little bit. So I definitely was right the second time, not the first time, that spring goes on top. Duh, I don't know why I didn't think about that before. Put a little bit of anti-seize on all 8 of the bolts. Sent that one home with the impact. I think we used a little bit of Nature's Loctite on that one. Might be a little bit cross-threaded, but who cares? We have doors, my friend. Sweet. Definitely need to be adjusted. I guess we'll tackle that in a little bit. But as of right now, we have doors. A door, at least. A door. Good deal. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust that. Dang it. better than nothing. So let's go ahead and mount the other side.
I can't do nothing with you.
Alright, so I've got the front fenders and the back doors ready to be mounted again. And this is the most work I've done to this truck in years, which is kind of the point of reason why I'm doing it. So we're actually going to end up tubbing these fenders. As you can see, I kind of started down there in the corner. All this inner fender stuff is going to be cut out. It's not going to have ABS. It's not going to have anything really to mount to. The batteries are going to be relocated to the bed, so not really too worried about anything else being up here up front. I need as much weight on the rear as I can to squat the suspension and make it dig. But I need to see if one of these bolts are going to fit the back door. That way I know what size I need to get. Alright, let's see if it fits. Alrighty, that will be it. Alrighty guys, let's run to the store and go pick up some more. And all not appreciate how this looks. Like, what is the point of a squatted truck? Like, for real, like really, what is it? Alright, we have arrived at O'Reilly's. I doubt they're gonna want us to record inside, so I'm gonna cut it right here. Alright, so as luck would have it, they didn't have the exact bolts I needed, but bolt pattern we're looking for is M8 by 1.25 by 25. They have these flange bolts that are 20 millimeter, which is about as close as we're going to get. And then these are non-flanged, they're 25 millimeter. Not the exact bolt as these shank heads or whatever they're called, but it'll do the job. I really don't care, it's going to get painted over anyways. So time to head back to the house. Alright, we're home. Let's get to cracking back on the truck. Oh, that wasn't so bad. It's a good old truck. I really like to take care of it and bring her back to life and the light that I want. And another reason why this truck is kind of sentimental to me is when I was younger, my granddad had a project car that he redone. It was a 76 Thunderbird from the ground up. Got it for a few $100, bullet holes all in it, stuff like that. Just like not a very desirable vehicle. He built it, got in some hard times. He won a bunch of car shows with it and stuff, and had to sell it. So it was one of the things he told me was his biggest regret was selling his project car that he took 8 years to build. And that's one thing I refuse to do with this truck, is give up on it. And sadly, February of 2018, my granddad passed away unexpectedly. And another reason why this truck's sentimental was the month after he passed away. Well, we planned it before that. I was going to take leave in March of 2018, March or April. I was going to come down back to Alabama, and me and my granddad were going to take 2 weeks and build this truck and repaint it. And sadly, that desire, that memory was cut short, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So that's a little bit of a backstory on this truck, the reason why I refuse to give up on it. I mean, I know it's just a piece of crap to the eye, but it's my piece of crap, and I plan on doing everything I can to build it the way that I want, and you know, screw the naysayers. Alright, sorry guys, GoPro camera died. But so passenger side door is mounted, she's adjusted, not too bad. So I found out the issue on this. Apparently at some point during transit, I have dropped this door and she is kinked pretty bad. So when you shut it, this is smashing the fuck out of the cap. Also, I mean, man, so that's gonna take some body work. But all in all, we're going to fix this problem. There it is. I knew I had it somewhere. So oh, she's mint. Fuck yeah. Shit. Mint. Add a little bit more. Mint. Oh, looky there. Cool. Now we just send these bolts home. Mint. I think I sent that bottom one home a little bit too hard.
God damn son of a bitch!
1,400 foot-pounds of torque might be a little bit overkill. Maybe she's not quite. Be better. A little bit. I'll take it. Well, that's probably gonna be it for the day, guys.